I don't know that I could see more than 2 people a day sometimes, especially if they're heavy consultations, or assessments. Do you find the same thing?
I find that it varies a lot. I mean, I think a lot of times I feel there's been certainly periods where it's very hard, and I think there's a lot of outside factors like how's your own health and how, are you getting sleep and kind of filling your own cup? Because I think you have to be in a certain state, health and good mental health to be the most effective. And then so yeah, but I think there, especially when in that early phase when I was in kind of conventional pain medicine, conventional workers comp, I find the challenge is when in those situations when I wasn't making as big of an impact for them and you would just see them suffer, and then it would be every other patient be I'm 7 out of 10 pain, 10 out of 10 pain, then it just wore down on me. I think to me, what kind of makes work light for me is that if I'm able to make an impact for them, like I know they're in a bad way, that's why they're seeing me, then that gives me some relief. And then I think for me, it was having some maturity too, where I recall there were days where, let's say I saw 8 patients, with various conditions, and 7 had gotten better and 1 hadn't. And then I would feel like a failure because of that one. And then I felt like maybe there was something, I didn't know there was something out there that could help, because I think that's usually the case. There's some solution that could move the needle in the right direction, but maybe I just don't have that current tool yet. And then so over time, just talking about it with my wife, she used to say, don't feel so bad. You're helping more than other people. So it's kind of like maybe it's like a wins above replacement type situation. Because if I use that metric, I think, well, compared to my old self in conventional medicine or a lot of conventional things, I feel like I'm making a impact. And I think that that's kind of tempered it for me. So recently, and I feel like as the years go by, I tend to get, I like to think better, like better at communicating, better with my knowledge base. And then so there's sometimes when I go in, I think, oh, I hope these people have gotten better. I'm able to help this new person who's coming in sometimes with some skepticism because they've been failed so much. At the end of most days, I feel kind of light and refreshed recently, but I think it varies because you can get a few cases in a row where maybe there's a personality mismatch, or you feel like you're dealing with some toxic behaviors, or or you have a string of people who seem to not respond at all, and then you kind of feel like you're not making the impact that you want to make. And I think that as long as they're getting deeper understanding and having some degree of improvement, so it's just to me in that situation you brought up, if somebody had 50% improvement, it's like, hey, I want more for them, but I feel like I would feel like that is a partial success in that situation. And maybe my when I started off, that would have still depressed me, but now I'd be like, hey, that's a great start. And then either me or some other clinician hopefully will take you further along. And also I think that ceiling of where every patient can get better.
Looking for the answer to your sleepless nights, sore muscles, and better overall well being? If so, PowerX Strength CBD has you covered. All of our products are made of CBD isolate and have 0% THC, meaning there are no worries of failing a drug test or the worry of feeling high. With PowerX Strength CBD, we offer a wide range of products and payment options to ensure you have the option that best fits your needs. Don't just take it from me. All of our reviews and client testimonials on our site speak for themselves. You can even get 20% off your order by using code YT1306 at checkout. Go to powerxstrengthcbd.com to order now so you can get back to sleeping, recovering, lifting, feeling, and being better.
It's kind of like, I think it's a lot mysterious. I mean, I don't know if you knew when you said, "Oh, I'm going to be able to put, this much weight on my back again." You certainly had a faith and a hope, but then that's like not given to anybody how much they'll gain back exactly.
No, that goes back to when people want a hard metric from how long until I feel better, until I can play squash or until I can get back to playing pickleball or squatting again. You can, depending on what they're dealing with and what level, you can give some generalizations, but you can't guarantee it. But I can tell you this: I was determined to get back to squatting and getting my record back. And did I know that I would get 7 more years of pain-free powerlifting? No. I can tell you this for a fact: I didn't ever think that I would say I'd squatted 1,300 pounds. At the time, my best was 1185, and I thought if I could just chip that meaning a 5 pounder, or somehow get over 1,200, which would be only another 15 pounds, but to be able to be that good and just a couple of percent better than you were before the injury, surgery, I was like, well, maybe I can do that. But I didn't even consider like, yeah, I'm going to put 121 pounds on my best squat after all this. And then I'm going to quit, but it's going to take 7.5 years to do it. That's what I'm going to do, Stu. Nothing like that went through my head at all. And to be honest with you, it was kind of weird the way the whole thing happened with the 1,300-pound squat. But the first step is getting pain free, identifying the cause, wind down the pain, build capacity. I like to work on that stage 2, as I call it, of going from winding down the pain, desensitizing, and then building out with special exercises. But all I wanted to do was get pain free, and then the rest of it was just was gravy. And I think I had a little bit of luck on my side, a little bit of blessing, and just determination, and getting with Professor McGill. And he was the right person, because there was other people I didn't listen before. I had to fail enough to finally succumb. Because I remember when I went up there, and this isn't in the book, I went up there and said, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, but even if I still got to get a discectomy, I'm still going to follow his PT or his recovery and not this other stuff I know that's not going to work. So I went up there with a completely open mind. Not that I thought I would need a fusion or discectomy, but I was going to listen to this guy because I could just tell he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, I think that you placed your faith in him, and it was faith that was well placed. And that's kind of how I always feel like when people come to see us, and then they're, even more than the money they're investing in to see us, it's really they're putting a lot of their hopes in. And then I think it's just whatever the outcome, you just want to feel worthy of it by being excellent and being thorough and being kind of honest, even if it's not what people want to hear. Because I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes people get angry when you give them a certain message. And then, if you say, oh, I think you might need a surgery, would be an extreme example. Then they thought, oh, I thought this was supposed to keep me from having a surgery. And, and then you're like, yeah, I mean, that's if the situation allows. But I think what I'm actually really proud of in my book is when I reread it, there's certainly things that I would say, oh, I could have stated this more clearly. I could have organized it. This could have been tighter. But then there's nothing factually or philosophically that I read it and I cringe and like, oh my gosh, I'm like being such a hater here. Like I think that that's where I really strive for is I don't clearly know everything there is to know about facts, but I think I have this because of my medical background and because of what I learned from Stu. I think that was kind of the impetus for the book, was just, okay, I have this perspective that's not one of these kind of, armchair experts that, oh, I talked to like 100 spine experts and now I'm kind of an expert myself. It's like I think, when you kind of mentioned earlier, I would say I'm actually honored when you compare yourself, to, me and other clinicians in the community, because you have perspectives and experiences that we could never have, right? We have a common base of certain knowledge, and then from there, professionally, personally, athletically, we're going to have a certain vantage point that no one else has. And I think being able to express that uniqueness in what you do is a real gift. Makes for the feeling that we're doing what we're supposed to be. So for me, I'm not competitive, and at least I'm a very slow swimmer, but I've kind of studied and I try to practice the biomechanics of swimming, the freestyle stroke. So when my patients have us, come in and they mention they're swimming and they tell me what kind of injury they have, then without even seeing their stroke, I'll say, oh, you're probably doing this at this phase of your stroke. And then they'll say, well, how'd you know that? And I say, oh, yeah, well, because there's like certain kind of situations that come up from that, like that's going to cause you to have a shoulder injury if you don't glide in the water a certain way. So I think you have, that in spades with because not just for the powerlifters, but so much of kind of weekend warrior culture and athletic performance is based on kind of barbell lifts. And then so I don't know if you feel like you think, oh, I think this other lifter knows more about that intersection between the clinical world and weightlifting that you do, right? I mean, I don't know if I can't think of anybody. So I think that people with who are so accomplished in one domain and then move into this domain, there's going to be some sort of link up that it's going to be just the right match for a certain type of patient or client.
Yeah, well said. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember, like, subscribe, share, click the notifications because we drop videos twice a week. We also have a live stream every Friday where I answer your questions. Click below to see the latest video that we uploaded. Also, for our products, our CBD, our books that correspond with these videos, it's down in the description. For more information about all things Brian Carroll and Power Rack Strength, go to powerrackstrength.com. You can book a consult both virtually and in person with me. Enjoy your week, and thank you so much.